What's going on, everyone? My name is I don't care my name is, and today I'm going to go over my top 5 worst movies of 2024. So it's around that time of year again where I go over my top 5 best and worst movies of the year. And of course, I'm going to start off with the worst films of 2024 before I go over to my next video for the best films of the year. Now, for this list, I'm focusing on movies that got a lot of build, a lot of hype, and were failures. Now, for a movie to qualify for the list, the movies have to have failed both with audience responses and box office returns. Also, for this list, the movies that I will be focusing on will be coming from each category, meaning only one superhero, one kids, one horror, etc. movie, meaning it's not going to be all the same. If I were to do that, then the list would be filled with the same category, and I don't think that's fair for everyone that didn't do so well this year. Now, keep in mind, again, the movies are based on my opinion. If you don't agree with them, that's fine, to each their own, but these are just my opinion of the worst films of the year. With that being said, let's go over the top 5 worst movies of the year. Why top 5? Because unlike many people, I like to keep my list short. Number 5 goes to Imaginary. Now, when I saw the trailer for this movie, I got a little curious because I thought, okay, it looks a little goofy, but I thought it should be a lot of fun. Instead, it ended up just being a mess. From a story that was very predictable, very cliche, to characters that were making a lot of dumb decisions and acting in a way that there's no way that a normal human being would act, and a lot of cheap jump scares that didn't really, land. It's not scary, it's predictable, it doesn't make a lot of sense, and ended up being a huge disappointment. It's a shame too, because this is coming from the same studio that's been giving us some good horror films and some pretty bad ones, so for this one to be another bad horror film, it's surprising, but I wish they had done a little differently with this movie because I do feel there was potential for it, but instead it just ended up being a complete, utter mess. Number 4 goes to Mufasa: The Lion King. This movie, to me, was a huge waste of time because you already know how it's all gonna go. There's no heart, love, or passion put into this like the original, and it was just clear they were trying to take advantage of people's love for the original movie in order to make a lot of money. And so far, it doesn't seem to be working. Yes, they are making money, but not as much as they were hoping they would. I'm glad for that. This movie, they did try to make some of the animals emote, which is something that 2019 was very lacking, but it didn't really matter because it's still not The Lion King. It's just an attempt to take advantage of people's love for the original, and it failed on every route. I'm glad it's not doing well. I'm glad people are calling out for it's what it is, because this movie was a waste of time and money. Number 3 goes to The Crow. So, this movie was never going to succeed because Brandon Lee's original movie is not just a classic, but it's one where Brandon gave everything he had before the accident that ended up taking his life. So to try to make a remake, especially one that, much like with Mufasa, had no heart, no passion, or any love put into it, was just done to try taking advantage of people's love for the original. It's a huge slap in the face to Brandon's legacy and everything he did for that movie. And it didn't help that the story, the characters, just everything was just terrible. It felt so half-assed that there wasn't any attempt to make it. So yeah, this was definitely a waste of time, and you shouldn't have tried making something that should never have been remade. Number 2 goes to Borderlands. So, as I say with my review for that movie, I never played any of the Borderlands games. However, despite that, I knew what I saw wasn't close to being Borderlands. It felt like it was a shitty bootleg version of Guardians of the Galaxy, which is what even the makers of the movie said they were trying to do. They wanted to make it like Guardians of the Galaxy. But where that film gave us a lot of fun, loving characters with plenty of fun, comedic, and action moments, this movie gave us none of that. It gave us boring characters, very cliche stuff, shitty special effects, and childish comedy. A movie where they had to beg people to go see it. showed how desperate they are to try to make this movie succeed. Thankfully, it didn't, and thankfully it bombed hard, and hopefully they will realize they need to stop trying to insult the intelligence of the fans if they want to try getting them back to watch any of their movies. And number one goes to Joker 2. I'm not gonna say the full name because I just can't. No one asked for a sequel. No one asked for another Joker movie except for the studio who wanted the money. And unfortunately for them, they didn't get it with this movie. This movie was a huge slap to the face to all the fans who love the original. Todd Phillips took everything we loved from the first film and destroyed it completely in front of us. Completely ruined with all of his horrible decisions, the shitty direction he took with our main lead, and even went further by pissing the fans off with its ending. The movie is number one on the list because the movie was a sequel to a beloved film that everyone loved, and Todd decided he wanted to piss people off. Warner Brothers didn't see anything wrong with what he was doing because they thought he could make what he did with the first film work again with this one. And this movie, a lot of hype from WB. It had so much money being put into it. And it bombed so hard to the point that I hope Todd doesn't get hired again. Because it's clear he didn't care what fans wanted. And it's clear he just did what he wanted to do. And that was piss everyone off. So, yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. If you have a different opinion about these 5 films that I mentioned, or what you think of the other films that came out this year that you think was the worst, leave some comments below. Let me know what you think. Hit my subscribe button, check my Facebook page, check my Twitter page, check out Daydream Media's channel, subscribe to their channel, continue with the videos. I'll see you next time to give you more love and more entertainment. I'll see y'all for the New Year's. Take care, be safe, love y'all.